we have said is figuring out who won and by how much. And in order to answer those questions, we're going to play a game. Now, when players of equal strength play, there is a little ritual to see who gets the black stones. Black moves first, unlike chess where white moves first. But when players of different levels of ability play, the stronger player always takes white, the weaker player gets black, and depending on the difference of skill, black may get some head start placements. And this is the handicap system. For my beginning students, on the 9-line board, I give 9 placements, and I'm going to get the white stones and the first active move. Now, it turns out this is a very, very formidable advantage that black has. And it is possible, if you have a great native command of this game from the outset, that you will crush me like a small bug in this game. And that's okay. If you do, and it looks like you're going to wipe me out, I'm going to resign, and we'll start another game with a lower handicap. For my teachers, and what we're doing now is teaching teachers, what I want out of this game is to end it quickly and see how the game ends and how we count the winner and by how much. So I've got the white stones, and I'm going to make the first placement, and I am going to play over here. And now it's black's turn. That is an excellent, excellent move. You have linked up these 3 stones, and they now have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 unoccupied liberties. And I'm going to play over here. And now it's your turn. Very good. You now have linked these stones up, and you reduced this white stone to having only 2 liberties. I'm now going to play over here. Black's turn. Excellent again. Now all of these stones are linked up, and this white stone has only 1 liberty left. Now, there's a term of art in the game to deal with this situation. When a stone or a group of stones is reduced to having only 1 liberty left, it is said to be in the state of Atari. And it's possible you've heard that word before. A-T-A-R-I is how we spell it in English. And in the early 1980s, the Mattel Toy Company used that word to designate one of its very early generation computer games. My chess friends who know a little about Go, but haven't learned quite enough about it, sometimes compare the state of being in Atari with the state of being in check in chess. But there is a huge and important difference. In chess, only 1 piece can be placed into check. That's the king. If you lose the king, you lose the game. And therefore, because the king is of infinite value, you must respond to a check in chess. The laws of chess mandate that you respond. You do not have to respond to an Atari in Go. And frequently, the best thing is not to respond to the Atari, and that is what I'm going to do. I'm going to ignore it, and I'm going to play over here. And now it's your turn again. Very good. You have now captured the stone. It is removed from the board, and it is held as a prisoner for you. And I'm going to play over here now. Your turn. Excellent. You have stopped my incursion this way, and you're now radiating power that way. I'm going to play over here. Okay. This stone, unfortunately, you're going to lose it, but you can still get some value out of that stone. I'm going to play over here. Okay, that is a good move. You have now solidified your boundary this way. And I'm going to play over here. Your turn again. Very good. Now you have all of these stones linked up. You have 1 eye over here, and you can easily link up this way to make 2nd and 3rd eye. I'm going to play over here. Very good. You have now got an eye shape over here, which I cannot interfere with. So you now have one eye here and a second eye here. All of these stones are now linked up, and this is one alive formation. I'm going to play over here. Very good. You have now stopped my incursion this way, and so I'm going to make a placement in here. Very good. You have cut this stone off from its fellows. I'm going to play over here. Very good indeed. You have linked up here, and this stone is now cut off. And I'm going to play over here. Very good. You now have an eye shape with a prisoner here. I'm going to play over here. And you now have removed that stone, exactly right. One eyes, two eyes, three eyes. All of these are connected, all completely alive. Very good. Very good. Notice that my stone is in Atari over here. And if I were to do nothing else, you could capture it. Okay, for the teachers out there, you will notice that I have two sets of stones on the table. The game we've been playing with, we're using Japanese plastic stones. These other stones in the lighter color bowls are Ing stones, named after the Taiwanese billionaire industrialist Dr. Ing, who died in 1997, who was a great promoter of Go. And you will notice that the colors of the Ing stones are a little bit flatter. So they're easy to distinguish between the brighter Japanese plastic. And these differences of color make it possible to play variations and then get back to the stem position. Black's last move was over here, placing the stone in Atari. If I don't respond, you can capture over here. I am going to respond, and I'm going to play here, and that links my stone back over here. It's now your turn. Okay, very good. You've linked your stone up. There are only a handful of moves left in this game. Very good. In Atari over here. Okay, counter Atari, another excellent play. Captures, absolutely right. Okay, I'm in Atari again. Now I'm going to play over here, and notice you're in Atari. Absolutely right. You didn't fall for it. These are now captured. I'm going to play over here. We have just a few moves left in this game. Okay, take it off. And I'm going to play here. Your turn. Now my counsel to you is your best move at this point is to pass, and let's pause on that. If we're playing chess, or checkers, or backgammon, and it's your turn, and you're able to move, you have to move. And it sometimes happens in chess, and it very frequently happens in checkers because of the rule that mandates that jumps have to be made. And it also frequently happens in backgammon because of what the dice compel you to do, that you will have a great position and you are forced to dismantle it. And in consequence of dismantling the position, you get crushed. That never happens in Go. You are never, ever, ever required to make a move against your own interest in Go. You should play if you have an offensive initiative that is profitable for you, or if you have a defensive placement that you should make to cure a weakness. Now let's see whether there are any of those conditions that exist on the board. All of your stones here are integrated. You've got 1 eye, 2 eye, 3 eye, and several more eyes over here. So this entire formation is perfectly secure. This stone here is cut off, trapped behind my lines. So there's no way you can easily rescue it. In order to rescue that stone, you would have to make a whole series of placements. If you got all the way to here, you would have cut off this group of stones. But 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 placements. All I have to do is answer any one of them, and you won't be able to save that stone and kill my stones. So there is nothing you need to do by way of defense, and there's nothing profitable you can do by way of offense. There is a possibility that you might be able to play in here and get some leverage, but if you were to do that, when I play here, you're in Atari. Actually, the better way is for me to play you this way in Atari, now that I think about it. Forces you here, and then when I play here, you're in Atari, and that costs you these 2 stones. So, unless I make a terrible blunder, which I'm unlikely to do, you cannot make a good attacking initiative here. Since there's nothing you need to do defensively, and short of a terrible mistake on my part, nothing you'll be able to do offensively over here, your best move is not to move. Now, you're entitled to disbelieve me. Do you want to play or pass?
I can pass.
That's exactly the right move. And now I am going to pass for exactly the same reason. There was, in fact, a potential mistake I might make, and I have managed to catch it before I actually committed myself to it. So, nothing I can do offensively against you, nothing I categorically need to do defensively for myself, so my best move is pass. When we have both passed in sequence, the game is over. Now we have to figure out who won and by how much. At this point, I am permitted to remove the prisoner without further investment of stones to smother it. Now we are going to go through the ritual of converting gross to net in accounting terms. So we place the prisoner I have into your territory, and we're going to arrange your stones internally to make it a little bit easier to count the territory. This is, in arithmetic terms, the equivalent of, or in accounting terms, the equivalent of going from gross to net. You have 3, 6, 9, 12, 13 points. You also have all of these prisoners of mine, and we place these prisoners into my territory. And how many points do I have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You have 13, I have 12, you have won by 1 point. Congratulations. Okay, you played very well in that first game.
Thank you.
We are going to play with a little bit lower handicap this time. So instead of 9, I'm going to give you 7. Now, for my teacher friends out there, the idea of these high handicap games is to get the game over relatively quickly, but to make it a countable game. White should have territory and hopefully prisoners, and black should have territory and prisoners. I'm going to make my first placement over here, and now it's black's turn. Okay, this strengthens these 2 stones. This formation is called a steel post. Okay, this is strengthening this part of the board. Very good. You have now strengthened your stone here, and you're threatening to cut me off over here. So I'm going to play over here. Very good. Now these stones are all connected. And good, you have now stopped my advance this way. Excellent, excellent move. Now we are going to go and look at the ing stones for a second, because this move now raises the first of the fundamental pair of concepts in this game. Later on in this tape, I'll bring out my dictionary of Go terms, and you will see that there is a small encyclopedia of concepts that have evolved out of this game. And this move here has put your finger on the basic pair of concepts, and they are, in Japanese terms, sente and gote. Sente, we would spell phonetically in English, S-E-N-T-E, with a long mark over the E. It means the initiative. And gote is the opposite, the passive. Sente is the attack, gote is the defense. If I do not respond to this move, when you play here, these two stones are in Atari. And not only are they in Atari, they can't escape. If I play here to put you in Atari, all you need to do is play here, and you capture the two stones. And if I play here, putting you in Atari this way, you play there and capture the three stones. So when you have made this placement here, because of the residual weakness of my diagonal here, I must respond. And if I don't respond, I suffer a big loss. This placement is sente, and my response, necessary to protect myself, is in gote. The initiative, the passive, the attack, the defense. When you have made a move in sente, you keep and I respond to it in gote, you keep sente. And at the master level, great players will sacrifice 1, 2, sometimes 3 or 4 stones to get or keep sente. It's that important. It's your turn. Okay, now this placement here is at risk, and you are going to lose that stone if I play correctly. But you can get value out of that stone. I'm going to play here, and now you're in Atari. Okay, that is a good placement as well. I'm going to play over here. Okay, now I have to be careful, because if you get here and here, once again, this becomes sente against my 4 stones, so I have to watch what's going on here. There's a proverb about stones that you're going to lose: add 1 to the sacrifice and let them both go. Fortunately, it's my turn, and I'm going to play over here, and you are now in Atari. Okay. That's a little kinder to me than you need to be. I get to capture. Your turn. Very good. And now I am in Atari. Now, when players play in a tournament or a serious competition, the Ataris are not called out. In chess tournaments, the checks are not called out. It's assumed that the players are strong enough to see them. I like my students to call out the Ataris for 2 reasons. One is, if you're on your honor to call them out, you'll be looking for them. And 2, occasionally I make colossal mistakes, and if someone reminds me that I'm an Atari, I'm less likely to make a colossal mistake. Now, as we have discussed in our first game, you don't have to respond to the Ataris. And sometimes the best thing is not to respond to the Ataris, and I am going to ignore the Atari here, and I'm going to play instead over here. Now, if you capture, notice that we will have one of those co-situations, and I will not be permitted to capture back. And I will add, for purposes of my teacher audience, I have intentionally not protected against that Atari because I want to set up a co-fight. It's your turn. Okay, that is a very, very profound move. And I need to think very carefully about how to respond to it. Let me tell you what I see here. Let's say, again using the ing stones for what ifs, let's say I play down here, or over here actually, to try to make an invasion in the corner. And you capture. Now this stone is an Atari. And if you get to capture over here, these stones are at great peril. Because if I then were to play over here, your placement over here kills my whole group. That's what I have to watch out for. And this is over here. So it's white's turn. Atari to you. Okay, very good. I'm going to get this ink stone out of the way. I'm going to capture